Back at it at the Peppermill Poker Room. The game is 0-5 no limit. In case you missed the last video, it's a single blind game in which the $5 is posted from the small blind position. It's also a timed game, so every half hour, each player pays $5 to play, as opposed to the more typical per hand rake, and this is something that I prefer. And this first notable spot comes in 5-handed play. There are 2 limps, and I raise a 30 from the cutoff with Jack 10 offsuit. The button and under the gun call. 3 ways to a flop of King 9-5, 2 clubs and a heart. So I flop the nut shot, under the gun checks, I c-bet 45, button calls, and under the gun folds. Turn brings a 3 of hearts, putting up backdoor hearts. I decide to check this time, and my opponent checks back. 5th street comes, the 10 of diamonds, so I river second pair, and given that my opponent didn't bet the turn when check 2 on a draw heavy board, I don't think he's going to have a king too often in his hand. He's also unlikely to have hands such as jacks or queens, given that he didn't 3-bet pre-flop, and my exact combo blocks some heart and club draws. That in mind, I look to target a 9 and potentially some hands such as pocket 8s and pocket 7s. I bet 55. He pretty quickly calls, I table, and it's good. Next spot we're 5-handed again, and this time I pick up 1 pip up with Queen 10 offsuit from the cutoff. I raise to 15 and I get calls from the button and the small blind. 3 ways to a flop of King Queen 6, so I make second pair again, but this time on the flop as opposed to the river. Checks to me, I c-bet 15, and both the button and the small blind call. Turn brings the 4 of hearts completing the rainbow. Small blind checks, and I'm going to keep betting. I make it 40. Button calls, and the small blind folds. Heads up to a river of a 5 of diamonds, so pretty much a blank. It is possible that the button river 2 pair with 5-6, and 7-8 is the nuts, but that's going to be pretty unlikely. And it feels like he's going after some straight draw, or can of course have a better hand with the king. I check to see what he does, and he knuckles back. I table, and take this one down. Continue a short-handed play, cut off limps, and I raise a 20 from the button with Jack 10 offsuit. Small blind and the cutoff call. 3 ways to a flop of Queen 6-6 with 2 diamonds and a spade. Don't flop much, but my cards do have some relevant removal to strong hands, and so when the 2 players check, I decide to check back to see what develops on the next street. Turn brings the ace of diamonds, so it's an interesting card as I've got the second nut flush draw / blocker. Both players check to me, I bet 20. Small blind folds, and now cutoff puts in a raise to 75. Now this spot's got more interesting. He can have some 6s, but he shouldn't have a full house all that often unless it's ace-6 suited. I am discounting flushes quite a bit given the jack of diamonds in my hand. I guess he could be raising with a queen or ace to protect against flush draws, but long story short, I could just call and try to realize my equity, but I like the aggressive route more to rep diamonds. He's not going to fold a 6, but I can still make my hand and or put more pressure on the river should it come to that. I 3-bet to 175. He doesn't think too long and flips over the ace of hearts and lets it go. Good result here. There's a $10 button straddle in this next hand. Cutoff raises to 30. Button calls, and I'm in the small blind with pocket queens. One of the best hands to look at. 3-bet spot here, so I make a 150. The cutoff quickly folds, and button tanks, looking like he has some evil intentions, but ends up thinking better of it and letting it go. I decided to show this one time, looking to build my image and some credibility for the future, and I scooped this one with the ladies. Playing 8-handed, under the gun in middle position limp, I'm in the hijack with king queen offsuit and raise to 30. Only under the gun calls, and we go heads up to a flop of 6-5-4 rainbow. Not my flop, and when under the gun checks, I check it back. Turn brings the 9 of hearts, and this time under the gun leads for 40, and just got a standard fold here. My opponent does show pocket jack, so interestingly played hand, and nice to get some information. Next hand there's a button straddle to 10, early position calls, low jack raises to 40, and I'm in the hijack with pocket jacks. I put in another raise to 120, the button straddler cold calls, and the low jack calls as well. 3 ways to a flop of 6-6 deuce, solid flop for the jacks, and when low jack checks, I bet 150. Button calls, and the low jack folds. And when the button calls, I think he's weighted towards hands such as pocket 7s through pocket 10s. I'll throw in some pocket queens in there on occasion as well. We go heads up to a turn of a 10 of diamonds, so a bit of an iffy card as he could have turned Godzilla. I try to think of a hand like 7s through 9s would continue to call a bet, and perhaps put me on ace queen or ace king. That said, I would check some ace queens and ace kings as well, so I decided to just check and see what he does. He puts out a bet of 225. And although he could be milking me with 10s full and occasionally have pocket queens, not going to fold here. I put in calling chips. We go to a river of a 4 of clubs. I check it over again, and this time he knuckles back. I turn my hand over, and it's good. Next hand, there's a limp from the cutoff, and I raise a 25 from the button with ace-jack offsuit. The small blind and cutoff call. Three-ways to a flop of king 10-6 with 2 diamonds and a club. Checks to me, I c-bet 25, and both players call. Turn brings the 9 of spades, and both players check again to me. This time I slow down and check back. River comes the 8 of diamonds, putting up a one-liner and completing diamonds, to which I have the nut flush blocker. Small blind leads 35, cutoff calls with 100 back, and although I block the nuts, I don't like a raise here for one main reason. The cutoff only has 100 back, and I don't think he's folding. I decide to just let my hand go. Small blind tables, king 10 offsuit for top 2, and the cutoff tables, 7-9 of hearts for the rivered straight to take this one down. Straddle is on in this next one, and there's a caller. I'm on the button with ace-9 of diamonds and raise to 45. Small blind calls, and now the straddler raises to 165 with 400 back. The early position caller folds, and with the straddler not having much back, it's either a fold or a jam for his remaining 400. Although I have a nice looking hand, I just don't have enough info to feel like my opponent is 3-betting light, so I reluctantly let this one go. Small blind quickly folds as well. This pot goes to the straddler. Back to short-handed play with 5 players at the table. Under the gun limps. Hijack raises to 15 with a shallow stack. I flat from the cutoff with 7-9 of spades, and under the gun calls as well. Three-ways to a flop of king queen 9 with 2 spades and a club, so solid flat from my hand. Under the gun leads for 20. Hijack folds. I call. Heads up to a turn of a 5 of diamonds. Under the gun continues the aggression, this time for 50. I call again, looking to bink the river. It comes the king of diamonds, so I don't improve. Under the gun continues the aggression, $50 again. I decide to put in the call. She tables, queen jack offsuit for the better hand. So easily the worst hand that I played all session. Too passive and stationy. The better play would have been either to fold or raise the river. Last interesting spot, 5-handed. Under the gun raises to 20. Hijack and cutoff call. I'm on the button with pocket jacks. Good premium here, so I raise it to 125. Small blind folds. Under the gun calls. Hijack folds, and the cutoff calls. We go 3 ways to a flop of 7-5-4 with 2 clubs and a spade. Under the gun checks, cutoff jams for 135. Gonna protect, and I raise it to 300. Under the gun folds, and we're off to a run out, which comes a queen and a 9. Cutoff mucks, and the jacks have been good to me this session, and I'll lock this one up. Alright, just close out the session here at Peppermill again. And before I dive into the results, just want to make 2 quick mentions. Shout out to Conrad, who I met yesterday, which was on the previous vlog. He is a vlog watcher out of Colma. Kind of ironic that I met him here as opposed to at Lucky Chances, and really enjoyed the conversation. We talked about how poker can be a pretty intimidating game, and after he watched a bunch of vlogs, it gave him the courage and confidence to sit down at a poker table. And just want to put it out there in case any of you are newer to poker and want to give it a try for the first time. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments or email me. And if you're local in the Bay Area and you've never played poker before and you want to give it a try, just hit me up, because I'm happy to go with you to the casino, kind of show you some things, and hopefully help you feel a little bit more comfortable playing poker for the first time. And the other quick mention is one that I shared in a previous vlog. The website is up and running if you're looking for a t-shirt or a hoodie, projectlock.com. And just want to give another shout out to 2 people in particular. My better half, Cindy, she's the one that took the pictures that you see on the website and is always just really supportive with the vlog and poker. And another shout out to my good friend Eric. He's a lot more intuitive with web design and things of that nature, so I work closely with him on building the website. Big thanks to him and all of his support. And yeah, as for the poker results tonight, got in the game for $1,000, didn't have to add on, and cashed out $2,080. So book a profit of $1,080. Pretty satisfied with the overall session. Just one main spot that I wanted to have back, which was the one where I called with a pair of 9s. Played that one softer than baby shit. But that's gonna do it for this one. Same drill tomorrow. Gonna try to make it 3 wins in a row. And with that, appreciate the continued support. Would really appreciate a like and a sub. Would like to get this channel to 15K subs at some point. It's a bit far-fetched at the moment, but with your help, it'd be great to get there. And with that, see you on the next one.